All right, so today we're going to let Laura, who owns these horses, see if they act differently with her. And they normally do. They usually stand there and let her just brush them and get tangles out of their mane and all sorts of stuff. Because what we've been saying all along is that this is all about relationship. And relationships aren't built in an hour a week in a round pen. Relationships are built in 1,000 little interactions every day. And as you can see, these horses respond totally different to Laura than they do to Tanner and I. And Laura doesn't have to bribe them with feed or treats or anything. She bribes them with relationship. She still uses the same principles that we use. And this is even going to look a little different than what it normally looks with Laura, because there's a camera here and there's Tanner and I are here. And that changes the way that Laura is in her body and the way these horses are in their bodies. Before we turn the camera on, Annie is standing there letting Laura brush her mane. And Laura wanted me to wear the microphone today and do the talking because she can't really talk and walk at the same time.
That's a skill I haven't yet mastered.
And when you're working with your own horses with this, you're going to find that same thing kind of gets in your way. Because to be able to talk about this and connect with your horses, you have to have your neocortex and your limbic system working together. And a lot of times when we engage our limbic system, our neocortex doesn't work as well. And sometimes when we engage our neocortex to describe what's going on, our limbic system has a tendency to want to shut down a little. And that's going to affect our horses a great deal. Especially horses that are hypersensitive to everything the way that Annie is. Tanner and I have had a lot of practice at doing that, and it takes a lot of practice at doing that. And we're not perfect at it either. So Annie has this real interesting dynamic playing out today. We've had some rain the last couple of days, and she's got a little mud ball right up here at the top part of her mane, and every time she moves, that thing slaps her on the neck and it freaks her out. That's what just happened to her. You can see every time that thing slaps her, she moves away from it. And it doesn't have to touch her much. Yep, like that.
No standing right in front of the camera.
Tanner just had to ask Abilene to move so the camera could see what was going on. She kind of likes to hog the camera sometimes. And there comes Abby back up to get in front of the camera.
precinct soon.
So stay in here, Laura. Let me ease in here and see how much of a calming effect you have on even Abilene.
Do you want to wear this thing?
No, just kind of keep it on. Hi there, Abilene. Hi. Hey, girl. Let me see you brush a minute. You see that? I know, you'd rather Laura do this to you, wouldn't you? Yeah. You'd rather have Laura do this to you. I don't blame you.
That's the spot.
So as I'm standing here doing this, I'm going to very subtly reach across that top line every now and then. Because one of the things they're not used to and that they have to get used to is me being on both sides of them at once. They don't really have a framework for understanding that real well. So they have to kind of understand that a little. And at first it'll be a little difficult for them when you go from one side to the other. This side's a little different, isn't it, hon? Isn't it? So sometimes when you have horses like this, what are you going to do if something happens to her where, you know, that little knot on her mane's not a big deal. But what if it was something that you had to take care of? How would you do it?
Yeah, I'd call you.
How would I do it?
I'd call you, Tanner.
How would we do it?
Yeah, or yeah, I've been wondering that. Because something like that could happen. Aside from getting a vet to come out with a sedative or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because it's, you know, obviously they have to be able to get calm enough for you to be able to help them out.
They do, or you have to immobilize them where they don't have any choice.
Mm-hmm.
But you can immobilize them without completely taking their choice away. So even if I have to immobilize a horse, I want them to, I'm not going to do anything to them while I've got them immobilized until they're in a state of calm and they're present. I don't want them to check out while I'm doing whatever it is I'm going to do. If I was going to take that knot out of her mane, and it would be real easy, we could do it, especially with these panels. And I've done it with lots of horses where I had to do something to them. I can just start making these panels smaller until I get her in a space where she can't really move much. But even when I've got her there, I'm not going to touch. When I reach up to touch her, what's she gonna do? If I've got her where she can't do anything, she can't get away, she can't really fight.
If she can't do anything and she can't fight and she can't run, then I guess she's going to check out.
That's what her tendency's going to be, is to check out. Once she figures out, I can't get away from this, her tendency's going to be to want to check out. I still don't want her to check out even when I'm doing that. So I'm not going to let her stand there checked out while I remove that knot. I'm going to reach up to touch her and she's going to freak out. She's going to move to a state of alarm, at least, probably a state of fear. She can't get away. She can't fight. So what's going to happen is she's going to want to just check out. So she's going to drop her head. She's going to go away in her mind and say, well, go ahead, but I'm not going to feel it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to experience it in any way. And then when we let her out, she's going to get out of here as fast as she can. So what you do instead is you, like we've been doing with these horses, offer that touch and let her freak out and let her figure out how to bring herself down the arousal continuum. And I'm not going to touch her until she brings herself down that arousal continuum without checking out and comes to a state of calm and allows me to get that knot out. While she stays present, while she stays fully aware of everything that's going on. And then when I let her out, she's probably going to calmly walk away. Or she may come back and say, you know, that wasn't too bad. Why don't you do that some more?
Yeah. like they've been doing every time y'all have come over and we open the pen, and they
Yeah,
don't even really want to leave, and then they
Yeah.
walk out real calmly and stick near us.
yeah.
Yeah.
That they walk out and just hang around us, which is what they do to you every day. When you come out, they just kind of hang around you. They come up to see what you're up to, see if you're wanting to connect with them in any way,
Right.
because they enjoy that relationship. And just because I have to put her somewhere to do something that's necessary to do to her doesn't mean I have to damage the relationship.
This is very much analogous to the difference between how kids relate to their parents and how kids relate to their teachers.
Absolutely.
And just because teachers have a job to do doesn't mean they can't do it by putting the connection first.
Yes. So anything I have to do to my horse, even if it's give them a shot, we can do that with connection instead of restraint. I don't have to restrain my horses if I have a good connection with them. And even if I do have to restrain them a little bit because she's not at the point in the relationship where the connection's good enough that she's going to stand there and let me give her a shot, if I arrange these panels and get her in there where she can't move, I'm still not going to give her the shot while she's in the survival part of her brain. I'm going to wait till she connects a little bit, comes to a state of calm, realizes I'm not going to hurt her, that she doesn't have to be afraid of me. And then I'm going to give her a shot that's going to say, oh, crap, he did hurt me. But if after I give her the shot, she notices that I didn't disconnect, then she's going to be okay with the shot. So everything that we do to them is all about being connected and staying connected and using that connection, whatever we have of it, to help them feel safe in everything that we're doing with them. Because safety doesn't come from all these rules that everybody tries to make around horses. Safety comes from connected, attuned relationships. How many homes have you walked into where they had a set of rules on the kitchen wall that said this is what you have to do to stay safe in this home? How many horse barns have you walked into that had those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're defeating your purpose trying to live by a set of safety rules instead of trying to live with safe relationships. Safety can only come from an attuned, connected relationship, so in place it's possible for it to come from. Anything else, you're just fooling yourself. And she gets worried every once in a while and has to move, and that's okay. I'm not going to try to stop her from moving because she walks away a little bit, regulates, and comes back. Now, I don't have to ask her to come back. She goes away, regulates a little bit, and comes back on her own. And before long, she won't have to go away to regulate. She'll be able to stay regulated while we're here with each other, won't you, girl? So, you being in here, you working with her a little bit first, gives her a sense of security, makes it a whole lot easier for me, and a whole lot easier for her. And now she's just going to go to sleep.
It's nap time.
And what will really start to happen for Annie is that she will start to regulate a lot more to Abilene. As Abilene becomes more and more regulated and more interested in this relationship, it's going to have an effect on Annie.
I think we've seen some of that already.
Yeah, I think we have too.
One of the things I really noticed, you know, once Abilene got a lot more calm and our sessions were over, she'd kind of walk out of the pen and Annie would want to take off. And Annie'd get out there a little ways and see that Abilene just wasn't taking off.
Yep.
And she'd come back and kind of calm down a little bit.
Yeah. It's that heart math stuff. That the regulated heart has a overriding effect on a dysregulated heart if it stays regulated. And Abilene still every once in a while will get dysregulated a little bit and walk off. The more she overcomes that, the bigger effect it's going to start to have on Annie. Isn't that right, girl? So usually right here on the neck is where I'm going to start going from one side to the other. Because they really, this is the one place horses do that to each other. Is right here on the neck. So she already has a little bit of a framework for it up here. It's just when I get back down here, you can see she gets a little more worried about it, but that's okay. When she gets worried, I'm going to come back over here where she feels safe. And then I'll go there again once in a while, and I won't come back before she gets dysregulated so much that she has to walk off. I didn't that time. But she regulates and she comes right back, which is great. Now, if I try to stop her from walking off, I'm just going to dysregulate her more. Because if moving is what makes me feel safe and somebody makes it where I can't move, I'm not going to feel safe around them. I think we're seeing that play out with this pandemic a lot. People who find safety in their movement are feeling really unsafe when somebody tells them, no, you can't move. So she's going to be the same way. So I don't want to stop her from moving. I'm going to let her move and re-regulate and let her come back to me on her own. Because she really likes this most of the time. No biting the shirt. Okay, so that's progress for her too. When she gets dysregulated and feels this need to reach out and nip, she usually has to walk away to get control of that. She's no longer having to walk away to get control of that urge anymore. She can stand here and regulate without having to walk away when she feels that urge to nip a little bit.
I think that's about the longest she's ever had me or you on her dominant side over there and able to stay relaxed.
Yeah.
And I think that's as far back as either one of us has ever really gotten
Yeah.
on it.
You want me using both hands? No, not yet. All right. There you go. Good job. Good job, girl. Good job. And she's done a pretty good job of telling me where she'd rather be scratched. If I get somewhere where she doesn't feel real safe yet, she moves, puts me back somewhere where she does. And I'm trying to listen and be respectful of that. At the same time, asking her to get better about feeling okay anywhere. So next week, let that ball keep getting bigger, and I'll show you how we get it out without traumatizing her. I know. I was standing here not rubbing you, wasn't I? Well, I'm sorry. So Laura is doing a really good job with these girls. She doesn't really need me and Tanner coming over here doing this.
Oh yeah, I do.
She's finding ways to make this relationship work. Yeah, it's okay. That was a nice try. So it's really natural for a horse, and you'll watch it. Horses aren't selfish animals. If another horse is grooming them, they feel an obligation to groom that horse back. So she wasn't trying to bite me on the leg. She was trying to groom me back. And the last thing I want is to be groomed by a horse's teeth. So that's why I don't want a horse thinking I'm the alpha horse. because I see how horses treat each other, and I don't want them treating me like a horse. And I'm not of the illusion that horses are so dumb they can't tell the difference between a human and a horse. I don't think horses are so dumb that they'll ever think that I'm one of them. There you go. But that brings up kind of another very important point. Just don't be afraid to have honest reactions around your horse. If a horse is doing something that I don't like, I want them to know I don't like it. And I'm not going to punish them for it. I'm not going to let it blow up the relationship. There, see, Annie wants in on this grooming thing. But I'm going to let them know, no, I don't like that. I don't like horses nibbling on my leg. I'm going to push you away, ask you to go away when you're doing that. But I'm not going to disconnect from you when I do. And I'm not going to ask you to disconnect from me. Annie, how are you feeling today, huh? There you go. There, see, the more Annie sees you relax and come toward this relationship, the more she's going to start wanting to do that. It's kind of like a teacher in a classroom. You don't walk into a classroom and start immediately building your first relationship with the most dysregulated kid. If you can build good relationships with the regulated kids, it's going to have an effect on the dysregulated kids. You're still going to have a lot of work to do with them. But as they see you having safe relationships with kids that are capable of doing that, they're going to get the idea that you're capable of having those kind of relationships. And whether they know it or not, they're going to want to start seeking out that kind of relationship. There you go, girl. So now she's letting me go on that other side. Be on both sides of her at once. It's okay. It's okay. There you go. Ah. Maybe checked out just a little there.
Also a big butterfly flew right over.
Oh.
Big scary butterfly.
And I saw its shadow on the ground.
One of those regular Texas butterflies, huh?
Yeah.
It was probably chasing a buzzard. There you go. So I'm not having to ask her to come back when she starts to feel a little dysregulated. She gets regulated from the movement, from the walking, from the rhythmic movement gets her limbic system re-regulated, and she comes back on her own. All right, you want to try Annie again? I'm going to go ahead and get out so she quits worrying about me. There you go. So this is another reason we didn't separate these horses to work with them. If we had, we would have lost the regulating effect that Abilene can have on Annie. As Abilene becomes more and more regulated, she's going to have a greater and greater effect on Annie's ability to regulate. If we'd separated them, we'd have lost that dynamic.
Every time. Come over here.
Abilene, you gotta stay out from in front of the camera.
Abilene, why don't you go help her get that thing out of her mane?
about 5 minutes.
So she's where Abilene was several weeks ago, where when she touches you, she gets dysregulated and has to move to go get regulated again. Abilene's gotten past that, where now even when she feels dysregulated enough to try to nip at you a little bit, she doesn't necessarily have to move to get re-regulated. She's so much calmer with you in there than she is with us. Abby.
Yeah, she hasn't found, like, when she's calm, she'll come and seek out the relationship and the touch and all that.
Yeah.
But when she's dysregulated, she hasn't yet, like, made the connection that a relationship is going to help her to feel better.
Yeah. Well, and she can feel calm and regulated when she's making the request.
Yeah.
When someone else is requesting something of her, and this is pretty common with people and with horses, it's a little harder.
Yes.
And you know what? We go her whole life without ever requesting anything and just continue to let her have this strictly on her terms.
Right. Right. But it's not good for her.
No, it's not good for her.
Because that sort of behavior is really just coming from anxiety.
Yeah. In a human, they call that narcissism.
Oh. Being a control freak.
Same difference. And some people I've run across promote that in horses.
Yeah. Narcissism?
Narcissism, yeah. I try not to promote that in my horses or in myself. It's probably more dangerous in myself than it is my horses, so.
See, not only does she feel the need to move, she feels the need to push Abilene around as a way to relieve her own stress.
Yeah. Yeah. Controlling somebody else makes me feel a little better.
Yeah. Oh, I know plenty of people like that.
Mm-hmm. And that just comes from being in that survival part of the brain.
Yeah.
Moving down to that part of your brain, that's where control feels better. And that's why we don't want them living down there. That's why we're trying to get them up to their neocortex and their limbic system.
Let's see how they want to come out. Girls want to come out? Abilene doesn't even want to come out.
No, she's busy. She's found a good grass.
All right.
Good job.
Well, thank y'all.